Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Relationship Atlas podcast. I'm your host, Coach Atlas. It's been a while since my last recording. I felt like I've said that a couple times in the last recordings, and life is moving at a light speed pace for me. And I know a lot of us say that, and I've said that in the past, but there's something different about when you're expecting a child that puts life into hyperdrive. Time is simultaneously going extremely fast and a lot is happening extremely quickly. And it's also the longest 9 months ever. So for those that don't know, we are expecting this year in November. So this will come out here in August. We have a couple months until our baby boy is here and with us. Yes, it's a baby boy. Yes, we did find out. We were not going to wait for that one. We were ready to know, and we're very excited to know. And with that, we moved as well at the beginning of August. And so there's just been a lot of transition for us, a lot of change, a lot of growth, growth both physically in our space that is now a bit larger for our growing family, and also for the capacity to hold all of this. Just a lot of growth, literally, and also literally in her tummy is growth. So everything is going swimmingly on that side, and I'm excited to maybe even bring him on here when he is here. But for now, let's get back to the podcast. Like I said, it's been a while. I have been percolating a lot about what to share in today's podcast episode because it's been a while and I'm a bit out of the creative flow. And I have learned about myself that when I step away for long enough, that I kind of end up blocking myself from the fluidity that comes with consistent creativity. Even if I'm not recording a podcast episode, I just notice my relationship with my creativity gets a lot harder. It gets a little bit more tumultuous, chaotic, harder to connect to. It's a classic example of the 3 stages of a relationship, which is harmony, disharmony, and then repair. When I'm in consistent flow, I'm in that harmony state with my creativity, and then time will pass, life will kick in, and that will be the rupture between me and my relationship with creativity. And then it requires a repair. And oftentimes that repair doesn't take a whole lot other than just to sit down and let it be. But that repair is crucial because it's what gets me back into harmony with my creativity. And so this is the same to be said about our relationships. We're in harmony, and then something inevitably disrupts. It could be a past or historical trigger. It could be a new trigger. It could be a life event. It could be a weather change. It could be anything. And that creates a form of disruption or disconnection between the two of you. And in order to get back to harmony, there needs to be an element of repair. And actually very similar to me and my creativity. Sometimes it does just require sitting there and being with your partner, being with each other, instead of in the chaos of your mind or of the world. Sometimes that helps kickstart that repair process. So I'm here today in both an effort to serve and also in an effort to repair, to reinstill in me that consistency with my creative self and my creative flow and also my creative service, which is why I created this podcast in the first place. So if you're new here, again, my name is Coach Atlas. I'm a relationship coach. I help individuals and couples repair and rebuild and restructure the dynamics of their relationship. This is the Relationship Atlas podcast. So it's built to help you map out literally the terrain of your intimate relationships and also your relationships in general with yourself, with your friends, with your family. All of these tools are often applicable across multiple modalities, multiple sections of your life. Sometimes even how you relate to your dog. Some of this can help as well. So today is going to be in similar fashion. We'll keep it tight and to the point. I have 3 things that I want to share today that have been on my mind as of late. I was going to make this first one into its own entire episode, and maybe when my creative flow is back in its state, I will. But I want to talk about nagging. If you've ever been nagged in your relationship before, this small subsection is for you. I find it interesting when somebody complains about being nagged, Because what's interesting is it's very frustrating to have someone nag you, or at least that's a story that is being told. You're nagging me. Stop nagging me. You're always on me. And while every situation in a relationship is relational, meaning it requires both people to make a change or to be a part of that change, nagging is interesting because the way I see it is it's just the simple reality that your partner doesn't trust you in the area they're nagging. Nagging is a lack of trust. Nagging is a lack of safety, lack of security, something about what they're nagging you about. And nagging is simply also, in a lot of ways, reminders. It's, hey, have you done these things? Hey, are you going to do these things? And what is spent more time on in that situation is the bothered feeling that we get when we get nagged. And we don't spend nearly enough as much time wondering why is it, or what is it about this specific area that they feel it is needed for them to step in and, let's say, quote unquote, bother, nag, complain, etc. I'll relate this to a story I've told on here before about cooking dinner in my own relationship. I like to do it all. That is just what I like to do. So when I do all things, I drop some things. It's only natural. I can only hold so much. And there was this period in time where I was consistently the one that would end up cooking dinner. All good. Our dinner is very simple to cook. I had no problems doing it. But what came up was, well, a situation where I got nagged. But it wasn't just because she just decided one day that she didn't trust me to cook the dinner. It was because I had started to show her that I wasn't able to follow through on cooking the dinner consistently. And I'm not talking about like just cooking in general. I'm talking about burning the food. I had burnt the food enough times or overcooked the food enough times consistently that it percolated or triggered in her, I don't want to eat this food. And so I do have to almost monitor. I have to be on it a little bit more because he has shown me that he's not going to be. Now, that's not a character shot. That doesn't mean that I suck at everything. That doesn't mean that I can't be trusted anywhere. But I remember feeling that way when she would come and monitor, or I would be on my phone, because that was usually the reason why I was missing cooking dinner appropriately. And she would take care of the dinner from then on out. And it stirred something in me. I was annoyed, and it felt like silent nagging. Like, you just don't trust me. You just don't think I'll follow through. And my mind was thinking in such a totalitarian way, as if she didn't trust me everywhere. The reality was she just didn't trust me in this pocket, which was dinner. And that was tough still. I didn't like that she didn't trust me in that area. But looking at it, it helped me understand why she was in there in the first place. Because I wasn't following through. And because I wasn't following through in that area, it does initiate in her this lack of safety or security in that specific region, which she has to now be on top of. So I just want you to kind of take stock of your relationship, man or woman, doesn't matter how you identify. Take stock of your relationship with your partner and just notice the areas that maybe they bother you a little bit more in. Maybe they remind you consistently in these areas. Maybe they nag you about these things. Just take stock and take a look. How did you contribute to that situation? A lot of people say, I'll do it, don't you? What do you mean? You just don't trust me to follow through? Am I just not a trustworthy person? We go into this such extremes as a form of protection, and I believe we do so because we're scared of taking really deep and true accountability. So nagging pokes at that. Ooh, you got me again. Damn it, I got caught. Oh no, caught in my laziness again, caught in my vices again, caught in my struggle with my own inner monologue. I got caught again. I didn't do it. So it's deep accountability, not just for missing that, but for also what we were doing in replacement. And so take stock. Where do you get nagged? Where do you get reminded a lot? Where do you get quote unquote bothered? And take a look. See what historically has led to this. What is it about this situation that is sparking or initiating that sense of insecurity or safety in your partner? Why is it that in this area they don't trust me? What have I done to create that kind of environment? Because there's a contribution there. And that's really important to look at. And that helped me huge because I recognized I need to stop looking at my phone while I cook dinner. Because otherwise, I will find myself in this position where I should actually just not cook dinner because I can't seem to connect to that simple reality that this is my current responsibility. So, big conversation there. Nagging often just means they don't trust you. Something to look at. Part 2 of this conversation today. Setting realistic expectations in your relationship does not mean you're setting the bar low. It means you're setting yourselves up for success, not just in the follow through, but in the trust and the safety that comes with that. You notice that a lot of times, especially in the beginning of a relationship, the words forever are promised, or never are also promised. I will never do you like that. I will love you forever. I will always show up this way. And then the honeymoon phase ends and something happens in the relationship where we start to let ourselves be ourselves a little bit more, aka imperfect human beings. And some of these expectations that we set and these words that we offered are starting to be challenged. They're starting to really be put forth. And are you going to do that or not? And what we then do is we double down. And they say, hey, listen, this happened again. And you're like, I know. Hey, you know what? I love you. I love you forever. And I'm never going to do that again, ever. And I don't doubt that there's a lot of situations like this that are truth and that maybe you won't do it again. But there are a lot as well that are setting an unrealistic expectation based on the reality of human imperfection. A lot of times we're trying to overdo our commitment in an attempt to ease our partner's discomfort or frustration or anger with us. So we blow it out of proportion and say, here's this huge thing that I will always do 24/7, 365. And here's also the things I will never do because I'm so great. And I will never cause you harm. Yes, you will. And I will never disappoint you. Yes, you will. And I will never do anything that will ever be anything other than best for you. Yes, you will. We over dramatize and we just take things to this ceiling that actually just ends up sounding inauthentic because it is. And it also makes it really, really hard for them to trust you because it's so big. And it's also hard for you to trust yourself because now you've put on such high pressure. Now you have to follow through. And then the micro moments that you don't, you're breaking your bond with yourself and your partner. Your word matters so much, and it's so important that you deliver your word in ways that are well thought out, that are real, that are things that you have thought to yourself, I know I can do that, or I am going to commit to doing that. Way too often do we set unrealistic expectations and fall short. And this is what I mean by we're not setting the bar low, we're setting the bar inside of reality of human imperfection. So if you can do that more often, I think what you'll find is that your partner will trust you more. You will also trust you more. You won't feel such intense pressure to uphold something that is very unrealistic. And it'll give you some space to be human. It'll ask for some grace in the process, some compassion in the process. You open up the door to the things that you maybe haven't experienced because you're so worried about good, bad, right, wrong, instead of the natural imperfection. That is us. So I say all of this to invite you and maybe even challenge you to take stock. Where have you set the bar so goddamn high and placed such high pressure on yourself? And what would it look like if you were to set that in a more realistic setting so that your partner knows this is truly what will happen? And oftentimes it tends to be coupled with a more realistic action, something that's more realistically followed through on. I will love you forever. Awesome. Love that. But what is forever? Who knows what that means? It's a little over the top, right? It's super drawn out. So I will love you every day. And then you can actually follow through on that. Today, I love you. I choose you. I will love you fully today. Super easy. In contrast, to follow through on that. And you can even go to the end of the day and say, hey, did you feel like I followed through on that? What happens at the end of forever? Can you go back and say, hey, did you feel like I loved you forever? What does that mean? Yes, it is fun and cool and just awesome to feel like forever. Wow, that's the safest thing I've ever heard. Awesome. Until you realize tomorrow comes around and nobody knows what forever means. But what we do what we do know is that today means today. It means that date night means date night. It means morning means morning. We know these things. I will give you my full attention in the morning. I will plan date night. These are all tangible things that show love and show care rather than over complicating the system and putting unintentional pressure on the relationship that says forever and never. We're imperfect. Imperfect is an interesting way to phrase that. And we're always trying our best and we will fall short. And it's important that we own and accept that in each other. And yet here we are working towards things together still because we're setting realistic expectations. So what we have so far is nagging is often a reality that they don't trust you in said region. Number 2 is setting realistic expectations. And number 3, if I haven't already aired to this appropriately, we'll close with this. You're in this too. I came across this in a session of mine recently, and it was just a reminder, something that they already knew, but I think was helpful in the moment to remind them that things may be falling short on their partner's side, and they may have been trying many different things and many different approaches to get something through to their partner. And now they're in this state of frustration and complaining and bothered and suffering because of it all. And it's important to understand that no matter what you have tried or haven't tried, no matter how far you've gone, no matter how long it's been, you're still in this. Unless if you have left the relationship altogether, you're still in it, which means a part of you is still choosing said person, which means you are still choosing to find ways to work on things together. It's not just about you. It's a relational approach. You think, well, I'm not getting my needs met. Okay. But you're still here. So you're still in this. Do you see what the connection I'm trying to draw here? You're still in this. And a lot of situations end up it being in this position where they're saying, I'll just wait till they figure it out. Or, you know what, I'm just done saying anything. I hope one day they'll just figure it out. And yet you stand there contributing that energy to the biosphere or the air that the two of you breathe every day, and you think that that isn't contributing negatively to the relationship, you're now becoming more of a problem than a help. And that might be another conversation for yourself to say, well, I've tried everything. I'm sorry, but you haven't. I have tried everything. Cool. Well, then that must mean that person isn't the one for you. So you're still here though. So make the connection for yourself. If you're going to be here, you can be frustrated. You can be annoyed. You can have struggles and be bothered. Of course you can. But that doesn't mean that you just stop contributing to the relationship energetically, logically, emotionally. You don't just turn it off. If you are going to do that, you are better off leaving. Because I know in any relationship dynamic, if I'm in this house and we're breathing the same air and what you're contributing to this air is toxicity, even though you know that I have work to do, but you're just exiting, you're still contributing when you exit mentally and emotionally. Therefore, we're both breathing in this air that is unhealthy, toxic, it's hard to breathe. So I remind you and I invite you to remind yourself, you're still in this. Therefore, it is a relational issue. This is something for the two of you to work through together, not one of you to work through together. You still contribute. You still have to collaborate. You still have to find solutions. You still have to keep doing the work. If you want to stop doing the work, I remind you, then leave the relationship, exit the space. Take some space if you need to for a long period of time. Something needs to shift other than whatever is currently alive because what you've tried isn't working. Okay, what's the next step? What are other possible solutions? Who do you need to source information from outside of the people that you complain to about? Who can help you? Maybe that's me. Maybe that's a therapist. Maybe that's a course. There are other ways. There are always learnings available. And this is for you and for them. This is my rant to end the podcast. A reminder that if you're in it, you're in it. If you're in it, it means you're choosing it. If you're in it and you've stopped choosing it, well, you know the answer. If you're in it and you don't know if you're still choosing it, well, that means you're still choosing it. You're in this too. Get creative. Understand this is a relational game. Look at the ways you've been approaching and see where you need to shift. And then actually maybe ask your partner, hey, I've tried bringing this up a couple of times. I'm not attacking you right now. I just am curious. I noticed that it doesn't seem like it lands for you the way that I do it. And I want to work on this with you. It's you and me against the problem. It's not you versus me. So I'm curious, like, is there a way that I could bring this up in the future that might be better? Is there a way that you might receive it better? Like, I want to work with you on this. You can hear, right, the curiosity that comes from this conversation, and maybe they still don't take it well. But what an interesting conversation it might become if you say, hey, I actually don't know if I am approaching this in ways that are helpful for us. I wonder what we deserve. I wonder how we could do these things together. I also want you to feel safe to come to me with things. So, what I also notice is that when you come through in this way, it doesn't really land for me. But if you come through in this way, actually it would be perfect. And you start to create this dialogue where you understand that you're dealing with the person in front of you. You're not dealing with the imaginary partner that you've created in your mind that always does exactly what you need them to do. Imperfection, reality, these are all coming back as major themes. So I'm going to leave that there as today's episode. Gone a little over our usual 20 minutes, but I appreciate you listening this far because I think that there is some beautiful opportunities in the 3 concepts that we talked about today that have been on my mind for a little bit here, where we can start to break down the barriers to connection, to intimacy, to love, truthfully, by understanding the bothered part of us that gets bothered when we get nagged and understanding maybe why they're doing that versus attacking the fact that they're doing it. Number 2 would be coming back into this state of realistic expectations, not overdrawing things, being real with your partner, making things actually a lot smaller, a lot easier, setting yourself up for success, not failure. And the last piece is, again, that idea that you're in this too. Not the idea, the reality that you're in this too, which means you don't just stop contributing. When you're not contributing, you're contributing. So how do you want to contribute? What does that look like? And where are you resourcing yourself so that you're not just doing this all alone? That's the episode for today. Thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Atlas. This is the Relationship Atlas podcast. If you like today's episode, subscribe. I'd love to have you back for the next one and be a part of the creative flow that is reinstilling here in this space. If you want to follow along some of my personal journey and some other content, you can follow me at @therelationshipcoach_ on socials. And if you want to take this work into another level, as always, you can reach out to me, atlas.matsuda@gmail.com, or just DM me on my socials. I'm happy to reach out to you there as well and connect and see if this work is right for you. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you. So glad to be back. Feeling great energy from this. Excited to see you in the next episode. Have a great day.